children, it's Mrs P. I hope you're okay. Here is today's date and title for you to copy. Your title is Sentence Dictation. Whilst you are copying that and underlining it neatly in your book for me, I'll just explain what dictation actually means. It's not a word that we use an awful lot in our learning. It means that in year 3, you should be able to write from memory a sentence read out to you by your teacher. We're going to do 5 sentences today. That's all you've got to do for today's English task. But I really want you to try your best with these 5 sentences to write them out as best you possibly can, please. You might not get all 5 correct, and that's absolutely fine. What activities like this help us to do is spot which spellings we're still finding tricky or which rules for sentence writing we need to look at again. And then you will be able to see yourself where you need to look back on your learning from year 3. So how to impress me? You've only got 5 sentences to write. Please listen carefully to every single one. Write neatly. That means thinking carefully about the size of every letter, whether it's a tall ascender or has a tail and is a descender from the lines in your book. You might even want to try some joined up for me today. I'd like you to sound out tricky spellings, please. You know how much I love good punctuation, so make sure that you use capital letters, full stops, question marks, exclamation marks, commas, and inverted commas for speech. You won't need to use all of these things in every sentence. Don't worry at all. But you will need to keep them in your mind in case you think that one sentence could do with a different punctuation mark. And don't forget to please check your work after writing. After we've done all 5 sentences, I will remind you in this video just to pause it and then read your work out loud to yourself. As you know, I think this is the best way of proofreading. It just makes sure that you've got the chance to spot any little things that might need changing along the way. Okay, it's only fair that we have a practice go. You don't need to write this down if you don't want to. I would suggest that you do though, just so that you are completely familiar with what I want you to do. So I will read the sentence 2 times. I'll do that every time today, and I will then leave a pause. You do not need to pause the video while you are writing. I will just leave a little space where I will be silent, and that's when you should be getting on with your writing. I think you should probably listen carefully both times, just in case. Maybe picture each of the words in your head, ready to write them down. Okay, so your practice go, if you'd like to join me. Are you happy today, Ben? Are you happy today, Ben? Okay, just like if we were at school, I would have a go on the whiteboard with you. It's only fair. So let's have a look at my go. Oh, I'm not sure that I've remembered all of the things from the list of how to impress Mrs P today. Let's have a look together. First things first, let's always go back to the start of the sentence. Can you remember what we need at the start of every sentence for effective writing? Well done, it's a capital letter. Whilst we're looking at the word are, I'm thinking carefully about it now. I'm sure that's a high frequency word that we've been looking at since the start of Key Stage 1, isn't it? And I've not spelt it quite right. There's another letter needed. Can you remember it? It's an E on the end. There's another spelling mistake later in this sentence. I wonder if you can put your finger on it now before I read it to you. It is the word today. Well done if you got it right. Although I have sounded out and I have thought carefully about the spelling of every single sound in the word today, I've actually used a double O when I could use one O for the oo sound in the middle of that word today. Let's carry on. We need another capital letter for the word Ben, don't we? Capital letters should be used for new sentences and the start of names of people and places. Last but not least, I need to signal when the sentence comes to an end. So I need a punctuation mark after the word Ben. Would you use a full stop? Don't use a capital letter, sorry. Would you use a full stop, a question mark, an exclamation mark? I would use a question mark for that one, as we are asking Ben a question that we would like him to reply to. Are you happy today, Ben? It's a question, and hopefully Ben will say back, yes, I am. Okay, so now it's your turn, children. I want you to just have a little think about the following things before we get started. Let's think about our posture. Are you sitting up nice and straight? Is your back comfortable? Are your feet firmly on the floor? Can you see your work in front of you on a nice tidy desk? Time to get those listening ears ready, so please pull out the cauliflower, the broccoli, the carrots, and whatever else you've got hiding in there. Have a check for me. Is your pencil super sharp, please? The best handwriting and the one that's easiest to read is the one done with the sharpest of pencils. And just tell yourself now, I can do it. This is an activity that we've not done an awful lot of in year 3. We have had a few goes over the last few terms, but it's always good to remind yourself you can do this. So let's say it together. I can do it. No, sorry, didn't sound like you meant it. Let's try that again even louder. I can do it. Okay, it's now time for us to get going on our 5 sentences. I do not want you to write the numbers 1 to 5 in your margin, children, just in case one of these sentences takes up, I don't know, 2 lines in your book perhaps because of the size of your handwriting today or because it's a longer sentence. So please just do each question number in the margin as we go along to avoid any confusion. I will, as I've already told you, read each sentence 2 times, and I would like you to listen carefully both times, and I will then leave a short gap where you can do your writing. I do not think that you should have to pause this video. You should be able to get each sentence written in the space that I leave between reading them out loud. Okay, number 1. I went on holiday to Spain. I went on holiday to Spain. Number 2. She ate an apple, an orange and a pear. She ate an apple, an orange and a pear. Number 3. It is Jamie's birthday next week, so have you got him a gift? It is Jamie's birthday next week, so have you got him a gift? Number 4. There are 2 pairs of boots in her room. There are 2 pairs of boots in her room. Number 5. When are you coming for dinner? Asked Bill. When are you coming for dinner? Asked Bill. Well done, children. That's all 5 dictation sentences done for today. I think now would be a great time for you to pause the video, please. You can put your pencil away and find a coloured pen or pencil for marking and read each one out loud to yourself just before we go through the answers. So please pause your video now. Okay, and you should now be ready to go through the answers with me in a different coloured pencil or pen. I think that that is how we do it at school, so that's how we should be doing it at home. It's a really good way for us to check and to make our corrections. I do not think you are going to get everything correct and get 5 out of 5 today, children. I don't think anybody would, even me. I think instead you should be proud of all the bits that you get right. Maybe, like we sometimes do in spelling, do a tiny tick above the spelling of each word if you've got it right. But if you don't get 5 out of 5, please don't feel sad about that. Just have a look carefully at which spellings you're correcting or which bits of punctuation and grammar you need to look at again. In year 3, we have learnt so many new skills, and this is just a way of having a check of what our brains might need a little reminder of. Okay, question 1. I went on holiday to Spain. I have done a capital I at the start of a sentence. Every sentence should start with a capital letter, but I is also the name that I give to myself, so there's 2 reasons why it needs to be capital. I have also used a capital S on the word Spain because that is the name of a place, and there is a full stop at the end of the sentence, of course. I would like you to make sure that your spellings are okay all the way through. If you need to make any corrections, just do it now above the individual words or the bits and bobs that you need to add in. Number 2. She ate an apple, an orange and a pear. We've got a capital S on the word she because it's at the start of a sentence. We've got a full stop at the end. This sentence, just like number 1, is a statement. That means it's just an ordinary sentence, so we use a full stop for it at the end. I have also used a comma in between apple and an orange. That is because I've got 3 items in the list, and as you know, when we've got more than 2 things being listed in our writing, we need to use a comma in between to show that they are different things in the list. Number 3. It is Jamie's birthday next week, so have you got him a gift? Well, this is a type of sentence where you would expect someone to say something back to you. That means it's a question, so we've used a question mark at the end. We've also used a capital I at the start on the word it, and if you look very carefully, I have used an apostrophe S after Jamie. Jamie is the name, and the birthday belongs to Jamie, so it needs it needs an apostrophe S as well as a capital J on the word Jamie. Number 4, there are 2 pairs of boots in her room. Now, this one sounded like quite a simple sentence after number 3, didn't it? But have a closer look for me. As well as having a capital T on there and a full stop at the end, we've got 3 different words with the oo sound. I did this on purpose because I'm a bit of a trickster. We've got the oo sound in the word boots, that's a double O. We've got the oo sound in the word room, that's a double O. But we've also got the oo sound in the word two. Now 2 is the spelling where it's like the number 2, 2 pairs of boots in her room, and we spell that word T-W-O. That was a tricky one. And the last sentence, number 5. I hope my silly voice didn't make you laugh too much. That was a little clue that you might need to use some speech punctuation because Bill had a bit of a silly voice. When are you coming for dinner? Asked Bill. Okay, we have started with a capital letter, but before that capital letter even, we have done an inverted comma that shows the reader to get their silly voice on before they start reading out loud. We have then finished our silly voice with an inverted comma again after dinner, because that shows where we stop using our silly voice. That shows where Bill stops talking. But of course we need some punctuation before that inverted comma, children, don't we? That is so that the person reading in a silly voice pretending to be Bill remembers how they use their tone of voice. Bill was asking a question. When are you coming for dinner? So it needs a question mark there. I have then written the word asked. We don't need a capital A on asked because it's not actually a brand new sentence for me and for you. It's only Bill that would think that's a new sentence. We have used a capital B on the word bill because it is a name, and of course I have used a full stop at the end of the full sentence. Okay, I would like you to have a little look at the bits and bobs that you might need to check back on from our learning in year 3. You can do this either by thinking carefully about what we've already been doing in our lessons this year, or you could maybe go on to Google if there's a particular spelling pattern that you're struggling with and you want to learn more on. I would like you to send your score to me, please, on DB Login email. I really like to hear how you're getting on. And the last thing that I need to do is give you a huge thumbs up. Well done.